Africa is rising and advancing bilateral as well as regional ties hold key to accelerate the next phase of growth. Well, MTN Nigeria says it remains committed to serving as a bridge connecting the continent. Hello there and welcome to this focus on as a spotlight MTN Nigeria's Economic Diplomacy Roundtable in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm David Alabi. MTN Nigeria is driving fresh discourse between Nigeria and South Africa with the ultimate aim of ensuring diplomatic commitments transform into actionable outcomes for accelerated development across board. The Chief Executive Officer of MTN Nigeria hosts the South African delegation led by the Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Thandi Maraka, in company of the Lagos State Government, emphasizing today's activities is not just about talk.
There are 3 ideas that we're endeavoring to be. First is to make an African free trade agreement to work on ground, not on paper, but in ports, in platforms, and in short rules. And our policymakers and our political leaders will direct us on how we can make this the reality. Because when rules match, trade works. The second is to build trusted rails. Trusted rails in terms of digital identity, payments that carry fast between our countries and across the continent, and data that is protected that can flow to RegShip. These rails let SMEs sell, creators create and earn, and families transact with confidence. We using will be our ones with networks, sell platforms, and market sites today.
The importance of Nigeria and South Africa as twin engines driving the continent's prosperity and global middle path status comes in focus, expanding on current opportunities and what is to come, as well as stronger urge to drive implementation of outcomes from the Binational Commission.
With the African Continental Free Trade Area opening new frontiers for the movement of goods, services, and talents, Lagos stands as the natural launchpad for regional integration and cross-border trade. Our city's deep consumer base, financial sophistication, and transport infrastructure make it ideal springboard for South African enterprises seeking to scale across West Africa and beyond. We can build a corridor of shared prosperity that connects the industrial strength of South Africa with the innovation and market depth of Lagos to power the next chapter of Africa's growth story. Our commitment is to continue building a city where innovation thrives, businesses flourish, and the public policy provides clarity, confidence, and consistency. We would like this Lagos Roundtable to stand as a turning point that moves us beyond goodwill and dialogue into the realm of action and measurable outcomes. Let this gathering mark the beginning of a new chapter where every conversation translates into investment, every handshake opens a value chain, and every partnership delivers shared prosperity for our people.
So we continue to rely on strategic partners globally, like the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for us to can be able to achieve on that noble program of economic diplomacy. Ladies and gentlemen, the 11th session of the Binational Commission between the Republic of South Africa and the Federal Republic of Nigeria was convened in Cape Town, South Africa on the 3rd of December 2024. That was co-chaired by His Excellency President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa and President of the Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The BNC reaffirmed that our partnership is not just political, but developmental in nature. That is built on the recognition that Africa's transformation agenda depends on how its largest economies work together to unlock trade and industrial capabilities of all those role players. We are now entering the implementation phase of the BNC decisions. My working visit here this week formed part of the groundwork for those consultations, which will refine project priorities and also ensure that the outcomes of our heads of states discussions are cascaded into practical actions across responsible ministries that we have between our two governments. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, during my consultations with the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, my dear sister, Ambassador Bianca Oyuku, we concluded that early warning mechanism memorandum of understanding has to be signed.
South African consulate in particular is very central here in Nigeria to create a very conducive business environment and create the platforms for our businesses, both Nigerian and South African businesses, to partner. I would also like to, in closing, to say the partnership between Nigeria and the collaboration between MTN and the South African missions is an example of a model that I believe, Your Excellencies, should be continued.
Strategic imperatives to reclaim Nigeria and South Africa's voice form the crux of panel discussions, from visa issues to restoring policy credibility, business alignment, while leveraging public-private partnerships.
Say certification, for example. So to be an engineer in Nigeria, you must be certified by CORE, which is a council of registered engineers, right? In South Africa, you have the South African Engineering Council. Is it possible that if I'm certified by CORE, it means automatic certification by South Africa? If I'm a medical doctor, okay, and can I be, the moment I have a certificate from, say, a university in South Africa, can I practice in Nigeria? Those are the areas where we need to start. How do we make sure that our certification because what we need are the professionals, people who can do, and I will give you a very good example. People talk about PPPP. Now, let's look at any nation that has a population more than 30 million in Africa. How many PPPs have we done? Any nation in Africa so it's only South Africa, Senegal, and Nigeria. And to do the PPP in Nigeria, which is this Lekki, we have 9 lawsuits. So it's not, people say, oh, there's money there. It's not. It's difficult. So the question is, how do we do it? And guess what? The resources to do it came from Australia, not any African country. So the first thing we need to do is, how do we make sure we harness African resources for Africa?
When we speak about issues of trade and investment, the Ministry of Trade and Investment here in the Federal Republic of Nigeria ought to meet with the Ministry of Trade and Investment in South Africa and identify all those bottlenecks that continues to serve as impediments towards issues of addressing trade margins that have always been at the lowest level. So for me, if we can start to appreciate these developments and call upon key role players to say, these are the environments, regulatory frameworks that our two governments have put together so that we can enable ease of market access between our two countries. Those are the things that are already being agreed upon. There are memorandum of agreements that are already being signed. And like I said, I am here for the first political consultation with those two key ministries. We have met with our counterparts, and all these issues are now going to start to receive the necessary attention they deserve.
PPPs are the way to go, and they must be performance-based, focused on output, not on input. Pay for service. Don't pay a contractor for that you just hired a contractor. No, pay for output of you're maintaining this equipment. For instance, in the hospital, how many services, how many people used this equipment? How many x-rays did you do? Those are the kind of things that will motivate and keep people to ensure that PPPs work. There are a number of other issues that the government will need if we have the right kind of framing. The second point I'll make, and I'll drop here, is there's been a lot of talk about, Madam Deputy Minister talked about it, about action. The Deputy Governor also spoke about action, action, action. One of the things that we need to do from this place is maybe within the next 90 days, let there be an announcement by the two governments. It can be anchored by the self-sovereign Lagos, which is a government or almost a sovereign of its own, saying all of this binational commission activities, right? We're making an announcement that there's going to be a binational, a Nigeria-South Africa investment compact that speaks to the number of issues that people have raised. In 90 days, any conflict will be resolved. In 30 days, we will create an avenue where if you move money between Nigeria and South Africa, if you're an investor, there's a forex liquidity window and you can get your money.
MTN Nigeria restates its commitment to driving shared value for its stakeholders and the wider Nigerian society.
We are an African operator. There's no home country to run to. Okay? Some operators have left and gone back to Middle Eastern home countries. There's nowhere to run to. We are here to stay thick and thin. And then we have a lot of other initiatives like our foundation, the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway, where we are gone past 50% in the refurbishment of that really continues to reinforce our Nigerian identity. So we are here through thick and thin. We share the benefits of growing this fantastic business. We advance the economy. Of course, compliance is always non-negotiable with us. And we believe in the capabilities of Nigerians to lead this company and other companies across Africa.
Discussions here wind to a close with a consensus. South Africa and Nigeria corridor is brimming with potentials and a chance to turn that potential into real, measurable progress. Well, this brings us to the end of this focus on MTN Nigeria Economic Diplomacy Roundtable between Nigeria and South Africa held in Lagos, Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. I'm David Alabi.